Okay folks, it's April 1st and I'm figuring this is a good day to do the year-end review, in case anybody has any questions about, you know, whether or not they should be looking at this machine for next season or going with the new one for next season. We've got a list of things in hand here to cover, but anyway, obviously near the end of the season here. So firstly, I think I'm gonna just talk about how the fact that this thing is excellent both on and off the trail, performance wise. The 850, very happy with the 850. Lots of power regardless of what you're doing with that motor. The 650 will be interesting to see for next season for those of you who do go with the 650, but the 850, great power on and off trail. Fuel economy seemed pretty good. Oil consumption seemed all right. No complaints with the motor. Very smooth as well. As far as handling on the trail is concerned, I thought it was handled really well on the trail. I got, in case you don't know, I've got a 1.6 Cobra that I turned into an ice Cobra down here. I had a video of putting the lug studs in, so you can check that out if you're interested. And I'll come back to the track in a minute, but yeah, it handled very well on the trail, I thought. And while this is playing, maybe I'll just cue to a few shots of me doing some trail riding, so you can see how it handled on the trail. Most changed it since then. I think I loosened it up a little bit more, but you can kind of see this angle, kind of how I was probably riding it during that particular video. Comes out onto the trail here, and we're going to see as the trail rides. I know I've gotten a lot more used to it, and with the Matryx. So anyway, you can see we're getting near the end here. My videos, however, are off trail, and I thought it was remarkable off trail as well. And I'll have some of those clips maybe playing in the background while I'm talking about off trail. Didn't have any problems going really anywhere with this setup the way that it is with the 1.6. I mean, obviously you're going to get stuck. You get stuck in the mountains if you have a mountain machine too. Like, you have to be able to get stuck to be having any fun and to be improving. So
you should put it back on the tree first. There's Tim up there, stuck again.
Yeah, you do get stuck, but that's a good thing. You can definitely go basically anywhere you want to in Ontario, though, with this crossover machine. Very good in that regard. So now some things that I want to touch on that I didn't like, or that I think they could improve on, which they've kind of addressed going into next season with the new Matryx platform, is number one. First thing on my little list here is these handlebar and thumb warmer controls. It's either high, low, or nothing. The 2010 Skidoo I came off of, which is 10 years old, you had some variability there. There was not just two levels. You can adjust from off to full hot and anywhere in between. Next year they've addressed that with that new gauge package that is coming out. So we know that that's getting fixed. So that's one improvement that they've got coming for us for next season. Now, another thing that they are talking about is narrowing up the front, and I see that as a definite bonus as well. Oh, no, this little rib here that runs down the side looks kind of interesting stylistically, but you can definitely feel that when you're riding. And if this was narrowed down here, I can see why you would do that. I think that it'd be nice for them to, it would be much more manageable and flickable in the trail if it had a narrower front. So I think that's a great idea. As far as the gauge that you can get next year, I opted for the budget gauge. But one thing I do like about the original gauge is that I typically just have one of the displays constantly on heat, so you can keep an eye on that. I don't have scratchers. See if it shows you. Now, by the way, I'll show you that I have, so you can see that the heat and speed is constantly showing. I did put on in kilometers so far 2,032. Not going to get too many more kilometers this season. Might hit like 2,100. You can see again, it's April 1st. There is still some snow, but it's it's winding down. So I do like that you can monitor your temperature constantly with that, but with that new gauge that they have coming out, that's definitely an improvement. The one thing I don't like about this is the way the tack is. I don't like numbers. I'd like to see something sweeping so that you can see the RPMs and how quickly they're going up and down. Numbers are kind of meaningless to me. I don't normally, yeah, it's just, I think that gauge that they're putting on next year looks fantastic. So something else that I'm wondering if they've changed with the Matryx, and I'm kind of hoping that they did, is mounting these hand guards on something flexible. Again, my 10-year-old Skidoo, I never had a problem with breaking hand guards, and this year, can't say that wasn't the issue this year. So this was only one, but still, I mean, that broke because it's mounted, it's fairly hard plastic, and it's mounted to something that's completely unflexible. So I don't even know when it happened. I think it happened when I was in Wawa at some point. You can look at that video if you want to and see if you can find a spot where it happened. But constantly hitting small little trees, and one of those smaller little pieces of brush was obviously big enough where it decided that it wasn't going to give as much, and the handguard was, so ended up needing a new handguard. So I would suggest, if anybody was actually listening from an R&D standpoint, to have these mounted on something a little bit more flexible, just for durability's sake. So that was one issue that I had. Another issue that this just happened over the weekend. Snow flap has been good, and then I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's starting to crack on me. So I'm wondering if that's going to be a warranty thing. Now this is from Wheelies, I'm pretty sure, is when you're standing it up pretty straight and that starts buckling back, you can see you should almost make this a softer rubber or something here, like a flex point in this. So I'm wondering if this is going to be covered under warranty. I'm going to be asking for sure, because it's definitely starting to let go. So snow flap has been good. It's getting a little chewed up on the bottom, but that's not the fault of the snow flap. That's the fault of the lug studs in the track. It's when it does get jammed back in there, the lug studs chewing up the bottom bit of the track. Now, speaking of the track, two things for you. Next season, if I was going to order a new 146, I would be going with the 1.5, whatever they call it. It would be the Ice Cobra if it was the Cobra, but it's not. It's the 1.5 inch lug with a lug stud in it. You can snow check that, which is great. I wish that was an option for this season, because I ended up paying extra money for the 1.6 inch Cobra, and then another 200 Canadian for these lug studs to make it into an Ice Cobra. Now, I'm gonna, at this point, tell you that when I was pulling this machine out to shoot this, I noticed one of these lugs was torn. That's kind of unfortunate. It's nothing I don't think is going to compromise the integrity of the track, but it's just it's too bad. Now I'll cut to that and show you right now what I mean. Okay, so notice this just as I was getting ready to go out for this shoot. I'm gonna inject this at some point into the video, I think. I wasn't expecting to see this, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it as easily, but that happened at some point over the year. Right, that is supposed to look something like this guy right here, but that lug there came unglued on us, so that's unfortunate. That's one. The only other casualty that I know of besides the handguards. So just figured I'd point that out, but that did happen to my track. We lost half of one of the outside lugs. Such is life, I suppose. I'll be fine. It's a little early to have stuff like that happening, but there you have it. Okay, something else I want to address while I'm down here is the difficulty at getting at the compression dampening for the rear skid. So I went and I grabbed this light, but there's just very little room to get in here and turn. You can see I'm having a hard time even setting up the light and getting my hand in there. So very difficult to get in here and make adjustments. You're definitely not going to be doing that on the trail if there's snow and ice down there, but you got to contort your hand around either wheels and front arms and slider rails. You got either wheel here, arm there, springs, and other just general pieces of the suspension. So again, to get in there, it's just it's difficult. It'd be nice if they could figure out how to relocate that one and the other one as well. You can see it down there. So as you can see from that, there was a little chunk of track torn out, which is unfortunate. I don't think that would be a warranty item, but I'm going to look into it, because if it is, that's good news for me. Otherwise, whatever, we're just going to keep riding it the way it is. But it's just too bad that, 2,000 kilometers in, It's probably not the fault of the track, or highly unlikely that it's the fault of the track. It's just the kind of riding that I'm doing. Sometimes things break. So that's an unfortunate finding that I just kind of came across today. As far as other things that I've done to this thing that I'll let you know my thoughts and opinions on, where I did add this bad boy at the beginning of the season. The next level front bumper and bash plate, and it's been very good. If you watch any of my off-trail riding videos, you know that, it's seen some action as far as running over smaller. I haven't hit anything big with it, but you can see some battle scars of smaller shrubs and things like that. So it's worked well for brushing things off to the side, and just as an all-round protection. From an all-round protection standpoint, it did everything that I really wanted it to do. So pretty happy with that. The exhaust that I put on, I've been really pleased with that as well. It's not obnoxiously loud, but it does sound a lot better. So been happy with that choice. Again, you could check out the exhaust video that I have up on this channel if you want to know more about that. Another thing I did that I didn't really mention is I put on this Polaris tether. I did that right when kind of the boondocking part of the season was taking off, just as a safety thing. And that's a Polaris one, and it went on fairly simply. Wasn't too complicated. There's stuff online about other people have done videos on how to install that. Putting this piece of plastic back on, or holding this bottom piece up, was a little difficult because there's tabs that all this has to slide into. So that was the main piece of frustration, just for a one-time install thing. But other than that, it went in pretty seamlessly. Another thing I really like, now that I'm up here looking at this, is where the intake vents are, even stock. I know that there are some other things out there that you can do, but before, I always used to have problems with my intake on my last sled was right here, and it would get filled with snow and iced up, and it would choke itself out. This location here hasn't been an issue. Also really love the running boards. No issues there with snow really building up like I have had in the past with everything else that I've been on. So really big fan of the running boards. I like where the air intake is. Everything working well on that front. Now, if I was going to snow check another machine for next year, or if I was looking to buy a sled right now, I would try the Matryx out, because they have addressed basically everything I think that I talked about. It looks like they've addressed with the Matryx. So don't see myself going there for next season, but if I was in the market for buying something new for next season, I would try the Matryx out because of some of the improvements that they've made. It is more money, but some of those changes that they've made have definitely addressed some of these things, and I'm very curious to see what it looks like in person, and it'd be nice to really try one out next year. Hopefully I know somebody that picks one of those up to give it a shot, just for comparison's sake, because I think, again, that a lot of the things that I had mentioned are things that are getting addressed. So anyway, if you haven't done so already, for more content, like and subscribe and all that stuff. I'll probably have one or two more videos still coming out. I've shot some already that need to get edited, and I kind of want to get this one out sooner than later, because people are probably deciding what they want to snow check. If they want to snow check the older version or the newer version. I would give the newer version a shot. This has been fantastic, great, no complaints. Few little issues that I just pointed out, but other than that, great machine. Okay? All right, so until next time, over and out. Hope to see you soon.